First contact and detention. The gleaming spires of Novara Station pierce the inky void of space, a testament to the engineering prowess of the galactic Concordat. Captain Zara Chen squinted through the view screen of her battered freighter, the Star Chaser, as she maneuvered towards the docking bay. After months of deep space salvage runs, the promise of solid ground and a stiff drink beckoned like a siren's call. "Easy does it, old girl," Zara murmured, more to herself than the ship's creaking hull. The Star Chaser shuddered as it passed through the station's atmospheric shield, the sudden pressure change eliciting a chorus of protests from stressed metal and overtaxed systems. As the ship settled onto the landing pad with a pneumatic hiss, Zara allowed herself a moment of relief. She'd made it. Barely. The Star Chaser's life support systems were on their last legs, and her coffers were nearly as empty as her fuel tanks. This run had to pay off, or she'd be stuck in this backwater outpost for who knew how long. Zara rose from the pilot's chair, stretching muscles cramped from too many hours in microgravity. She caught a glimpse of her reflection in a darkened display panel and grimaced. Her usually neat black hair was a disheveled mess, and dark circles shadowed her eyes. Not exactly the picture of a successful independent trader, but it would have to do. As she made her way to the cargo hold, Zara ran through her mental checklist. The salvage she picked up from that derelict proxy freighter was bound to fetch a good price. Proxy tech was notoriously difficult to come by since the species had retreated behind their nebula barrier. If she played her cards right, this score could set her up for months. The cargo bay door lowered with a pneumatic whine, revealing the bustling docking bay beyond. Zara took a deep breath, savoring the station's recycled air, stale and slightly metallic, but blessedly free of the acrid tang of the Star Chaser's failing scrubbers. No sooner had Zara's boots touched the deck plates than a flash of movement caught her eye. A lithe figure was striding purposefully across the bay, cutting a path through the crowd of dockworkers and traders. As the newcomer drew closer, Zara felt her breath catch in her throat. The alien was breathtakingly beautiful, with skin the color of polished copper and eyes that glowed like twin amethysts. Intricate patterns swirled across her bare arms, shifting and changing with each movement. But it was the gleaming badge affixed to her snug-fitting uniform that gave Zara pause. "Captain Chen." The alien's voice was melodic, with an undercurrent of authority that brooked no argument. "I'm Chief Security Officer Lyra Tavares. I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to come with me." Zara's mind raced. Had she tripped some sort of automated scan? Was there contraband hidden in the proxy salvage she didn't know about? "Is there a problem, officer?" Zara asked, striving for a casual tone. "My docking permits are in order, I assure you." Lyra's luminous eyes narrowed slightly. "This isn't about docking permits, Captain. We've received intelligence suggesting your cargo may be of a sensitive nature. I'll need to inspect it personally." Zara's heart sank. So much for her big score. "Of course," she said, gesturing towards the Star Chaser's hold. "Though I'm not sure what all the fuss is about. It's just some salvage I picked up from a derelict." "We'll discuss the details in private." Lyra cut her off, her tone clipped. "For now, I need you to secure your vessel and accompany me to the security office." As Zara followed the security chief through the winding corridors of Novara Station, she couldn't shake the feeling that she'd stumbled into something far bigger than a simple salvage dispute. The way Lyra's hand hovered near her sidearm, the tense set of her shoulders, something was definitely off. They arrived at a nondescript door marked Station Security in several alien scripts. Lyra ushered Zara inside, engaging a series of locks that seemed excessive for a simple questioning. "Have a seat, Captain," Lyra said, gesturing to a chair on one side of a utilitarian metal desk. As Zara complied, she noticed the room's stark furnishings and the distinct lack of windows. This was starting to feel less like an office and more like an interrogation chamber. Lyra settled into the chair opposite Zara, her posture rigid. "Now then," she began, her violet eyes boring into Zara's. "Why don't you tell me exactly what you found aboard that proxy vessel?" Zara swallowed hard, her mouth suddenly dry. Like I said, it was just salvage. Some data cores, a few pieces of tech I thought might be valuable. Nothing illegal, I swear. And you didn't think to report the discovery of an abandoned proxy ship. Lyra's tone was incredulous. A species that hasn't been seen outside their territory in over a decade. Look, Zara said, leaning forward. In my line of work, you learn not to ask too many questions. The ship was dead in space, no life signs. I took what I could carry and got out of there. End of story. Lyra's eyes narrowed. I'm afraid it's not that simple, Captain. The data cores you recovered. They contain highly classified information that could destabilize the entire sector if it fell into the wrong hands. Zara felt the blood drain from her face. I had no idea. I swear I haven't even looked at the data. My plan was to sell the cores to a tech broker here on the station. A likely story, Lyra scoffed. Do you expect me to believe that a seasoned salvager like yourself wouldn't even take a peek at such a valuable find? It's the truth, Zara protested, her voice rising. Look, I don't want any trouble. If the data's that sensitive, just take it. I'll forfeit any claim to payment. Lyra studied her for a long moment, those unsettling purple eyes seeming to peer into Zara's very soul. Finally, the security chief sighed. I'm afraid it's not that simple. Until we can verify your story and determine the full extent of the security breach, I have no choice but to detain you. Detain me? Zara exclaimed, rising halfway out of her chair. For how long? That remains to be seen, Lyra said coolly. It depends on how cooperative you are and how quickly we can process the data you've brought us. In the meantime, you'll be confined to quarters here on the station. Zara slumped back in her chair, her mind reeling. This couldn't be happening. She was supposed to be celebrating her big score, not facing indefinite detention on some backwater station. I don't suppose I have much choice in the matter, she said bitterly. I'm afraid not, Lyra confirmed. She tapped a series of commands into a datapad, then rose from her chair. If you'll come with me, I'll escort you to your temporary quarters. As they made their way through the station's habitat ring, Zara's mind raced. There had to be a way out of this mess. She was innocent, damn it. But how could she prove it when she didn't even know what was on those data cores? They arrived at a small, spartanly furnished room. These will be your quarters for the duration of your stay, Lyra announced. You'll find basic necessities provided. A security detail will be posted outside at all times. I suggest you make yourself comfortable, Captain Chen. You may be here for a while. As the door slid shut behind the departing security chief, Zara sank onto the narrow bunk. She buried her face in her hands, fighting back tears of frustration. How had a routine salvage job gone so terribly wrong? Little did Zara know, her detention was about to set in motion a chain of events that would shake the very foundations of the Galactic Concordat and forge an unlikely alliance between a human salvager and an alien security chief. Cultural clash and unexpected attraction. The days of Zara's detention bled together in a monotonous haze. Her temporary quarters, while comfortable enough, felt more like a gilded cage with each passing hour. She found herself pacing the small space, mind racing with questions about the mysterious proxy data cores and her uncertain fate. On the 5th day of her confinement, the door chimed unexpectedly. Zara's heart leaped, hoping for news of her release. Instead, she was greeted by the sight of Chief Security Officer Lyra Tavares, looking decidedly uncomfortable. Captain Chen, Lyra began, her melodic voice tinged with an emotion Zara couldn't quite place. I require your assistance. Zara raised an eyebrow, intrigued despite herself. Oh, and here I thought I was persona non grata on this station. Lyra's copper skin flushed a deeper shade, the swirling patterns beneath seeming to pulse with agitation. This is not a matter to be taken lightly, human. I find myself in a delicate situation. As Lyra stepped fully into the room, Zara noticed the alien's usual composure was markedly absent. The security chief's movements were jerky, almost frenetic, and a sheen of sweat glistened on her brow. "Are you feeling all right?" Zara asked, genuine concern overriding her lingering resentment. Lyra's luminous eyes fixed on Zara with an intensity that made the human's breath catch. "No," she admitted through gritted teeth. "I am most certainly not all right. Your presence has triggered an unexpected biological response in my species." Zara blinked, momentarily stunned. "I'm sorry, what?" The alien security chief began to pace, her agitation palpable. "The Axylorians, my people, undergo a cyclical mating drive. It typically occurs once every 5 solar cycles, but exposure to certain pheromones can induce it prematurely." Understanding dawned on Zara, along with a mix of fascination and trepidation. "And my human pheromones triggered this mating drive in you?" Lyra nodded sharply. "It would seem so. The onset was gradual at first, but it has intensified rapidly over the past few days. I find myself distracted, unfocused. This is highly irregular and deeply concerning." Zara couldn't help but feel a twinge of sympathy for the clearly distressed alien. "I'm sorry, I had no idea. Is there anything I can do to help?" The moment the words left her mouth, Zara regretted them. Lyra's eyes locked onto hers with predatory intensity, and the air between them seemed to crackle with sudden electricity. "Yes," Lyra breathed, her voice dropping to a husky timbre that sent shivers down Zara's spine. "There is something you can do." Before Zara could react, Lyra closed the distance between them in 2 fluid strides. The alien's hands cupped Zara's face with surprising gentleness, and then their lips met in a searing kiss. Zara's mind reeled, caught between shock and an unexpected surge of desire. Lyra's lips were softer than she'd imagined, tasting faintly of some exotic spice. The alien's body pressed against hers, radiating an intoxicating heat. With Herculean effort, Zara managed to break the kiss, gasping for air. "Whoa, wait a second," she panted. We can't. You're holding me in detention." Lyra's eyes were half-lidded, pupils dilated with unmistakable want. "I know," she groaned. "This is highly improper. But I cannot seem to control myself around you, Zara Chen. You awaken something primal in me." Zara's heart raced, her own body betraying her with a rush of answering arousal. But years of dealing in the gray areas of galactic law had honed her survival instincts. This situation was a powder keg waiting to explode. "Lyra," she said gently, placing her hands on the alien's shoulders to maintain some distance. "I'm flattered, truly, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't attracted to you. But this isn't right. You're not in your right mind, and I'm still technically your prisoner. We need to think this through." The security chief's face crumpled in a mixture of frustration and shame. "You are correct, of course," she said, stepping back. "I apologize for my lack of control. This situation is unprecedented." Zara took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing pulse. "Okay, let's approach this logically. There has to be some way to, I don't know, suppress your mating drive. Some kind of medication, maybe?" Lyra shook her head. "Our biology is complex. Suppressing the drive entirely could have severe consequences. Traditionally, Silurians seek out compatible partners or engage in intensive meditation rituals to weather the cycle." An idea began to form in Zara's mind. It was risky, potentially disastrous, but it might just work. What if? What if we worked together to solve both our problems? Lyra's head tilted in curiosity. "I'm not sure I follow." Zara began to pace, her thoughts racing. "Look, you need help managing this mating cycle thing. I need to clear my name and figure out what's really going on with those proxy data cores. What if we struck a deal? I help you through this, and in exchange, you give me more freedom to investigate." The alien's eyes widened. "That would be highly irregular. A flagrant violation of protocol." "Maybe," Zara conceded, "but these are irregular circumstances, and let's face it, you're not exactly operating at peak efficiency right now. 2 heads are better than 1, especially when it comes to unraveling conspiracies." Lyra was silent for a long moment, internal conflict evident on her expressive face. Finally, she gave a curt nod. Your proposal has merit, but there would need to be ground rules. Strict boundaries. Zara felt a surge of hope. Of course, we'll take things slow, figure it out as we go. Partners? She extended her hand. Lyra regarded it for a moment before grasping it firmly. The touch sent a jolt of electricity through them both. Partners, Lyra agreed, a hint of a smile tugging at her lips. As they began to hash out the details of their unorthodox arrangement, neither Zara nor Lyra could shake the feeling that they were embarking on something far bigger than either of them had anticipated. Little did they know, their unlikely alliance was about to uncover a conspiracy that would shake the very foundations of the Galactic Concordat. The stage was set for a tale of intrigue, passion, and the indomitable human spirit, a story that would captivate audiences across the cosmos. Unraveling the conspiracy. The unlikely alliance between Zara Chen, human salvager turned detective, and Lyra Tivaris, the Tylorian security chief wrestling with an intense mating cycle, blossomed into a formidable investigative team. Their days on Novara Station became a delicate dance of professional collaboration and simmering tension, each moment charged with unspoken possibilities. I've got something, Zara announced one evening, hunched over a holographic display in Lyra's office. Her fingers flew across the interface, bringing up a series of encrypted transmissions. These messages were buried deep in the proxy data cores. They're using some kind of quantum-entangled cipher I've never seen before. Lyra leaned in close, her breath warm against Zara's neck. The human suppressed a shiver, forcing herself to focus on the task at hand. Can you decrypt them? Lyra asked, her voice husky with a mix of excitement and barely restrained desire. Zara grinned, a spark of pride in her eyes. Already did. You're looking at communications between high-ranking members of the Galactic Concordat, and, well, this is where it gets weird. An unknown species calling themselves the Void Walkers. Lyra's luminous eyes widened. Impossible. No new spacefaring races have been discovered in millennia. Apparently, these Void Walkers have been around for a long time, Zara explained, bringing up a series of star charts. They've been hiding in dark matter pockets throughout the galaxy observing us. And now, it looks like they're ready to make first contact, but only with a select few. The implications were staggering. A secret first contact scenario, orchestrated by corrupt elements within the Concordat itself. As Zara and Lyra delved deeper into the conspiracy, they uncovered a web of lies and manipulation that threatened the very fabric of galactic society. Their investigation took them to the shadowy underbelly of Novara Station. In seedy bars and back-alley data brokers, they pieced together the truth. The Void Walkers possessed technology beyond anything the known galaxy had seen, including the ability to manipulate dark energy itself. Do you realize what this means? Lyra whispered as they huddled in a dimly lit storage room, hiding from Concordat agents who had gotten wind of their probe. With that kind of power, they could reshape the very structure of space-time. Zara nodded grimly. And the corrupt Concordat bigwigs want to keep it all for themselves. Imagine the damage they could do, the power they'd wield. As they worked to expose the conspiracy, Zara and Lyra found themselves growing closer. The intensity of their shared mission, combined with the ever-present undercurrent of Lyra's mating drive, created a powder keg of emotions. One night, after a particularly harrowing escape from Concordat enforcers, they found themselves alone in Zara's quarters. The air was electric with unresolved tension. We could die tomorrow, Zara said softly, her eyes meeting Lyra's. Hell, we could die in the next 5 minutes if those Concordat goons find us. Lyra's copper skin flushed, the swirling patterns beneath pulsing with barely contained need. Zara, she breathed, I don't know how much longer I can resist this pull between us. The human stepped closer, her heart pounding. Then don't. Their lips met in a kiss that was equal parts desperation and longing. Months of pent-up desire exploded in a frenzy of exploring hands and intertwining bodies. As they came together, the boundaries between their species seemed to melt away, leaving only raw, primal connection. In the afterglow, tangled in each other's arms, Zara couldn't help but chuckle. Well, that's one way to handle your mating cycle. Lyra's answering laugh was music to Zara's ears, but their moment of bliss was short-lived. An urgent alert chimed on Lyra's comm device. "It's happening," the Dilorian said, her face grave as she read the message. "The Voidwalkers are making their move. We're out of time." Zara sprang into action, grabbing her clothes. "Then we better crash their party. You ready to save the galaxy, partner?" Lyra's eyes gleamed with determination and something deeper, something that made Zara's heart skip a beat. "With you by my side, always." As they raced to confront the conspirators and the mysterious Voidwalkers, neither Zara nor Lyra could have predicted the earth-shattering revelations that awaited them. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and only the unlikely human-alien partnership stood between order and chaos. The stage was set for an epic confrontation that would push both women to their limits, testing not only their newfound bond, but the very limits of what it meant to be human and beyond. Alliance forged in crisis. The corridors of Novara Station thrummed with an eerie quiet as Zara and Lyra raced towards the nexus of the conspiracy. Their footsteps echoed in the emptiness, most of the station's inhabitants locked down in their quarters, unaware of the cosmic drama unfolding around them. "We're approaching the restricted sector," Lyra whispered, her violet eyes glowing faintly in the dim emergency lighting. "Whatever the Voidwalkers are planning, it's happening in there." Zara nodded, adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Any idea what we're walking into?" Before Lyra could respond, a shockwave of unseen energy rippled through the station. The very fabric of reality seemed to warp and twist, sending both women stumbling. "What the hell was that?" Zara gasped, steadying herself against a bulkhead. Lyra's face was grim. Dark energy manipulation. The Voidwalkers are tearing open a portal between dimensions. They rounded a corner to find a scene of utter chaos. A swirling vortex of inky darkness dominated the center of a vast chamber, tendrils of void energy lashing out to consume anything they touched. Surrounding the anomaly were figures Zara recognized from the encrypted files, high-ranking Concordat officials, their faces masks of greed and hunger for power. And there, emerging from the portal itself, were the Voidwalkers. Their forms were difficult for Zara's human eyes to comprehend, shifting, ethereal beings that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions at once. "Behold," one of the Concordat leaders proclaimed, arms spread wide, "the dawn of a new era. With the Voidwalker's power, we shall reshape the galaxy in our image." "Not if we have anything to say about it," Zara muttered, drawing her salvaged proxy energy pistol. What followed was a battle unlike anything in recorded galactic history. Zara and Lyra fought side by side, their movements perfectly synchronized, as if they'd been partners for years. The humans' quick thinking and unorthodox tactics complemented Lyra's Silurian strength and security training. As they clashed with Concordat forces, Zara caught glimpses of the Voidwalkers. The extra-dimensional beings seemed to be in conflict with each other, some attempting to close the portal while others sought to widen it further. "Lyra," Zara shouted over the din of battle, "I don't think all the Voidwalkers are in on this. Some of them look like they're trying to stop it." The Axylorian nodded, dispatching a Concordat guard with a well-placed stun blast. "Then perhaps we can find allies among them." In a moment that would be etched into the annals of galactic history, Zara Chen, human salvager turned unlikely hero, took a leap of faith. She holstered her weapon and strode towards the portal, hands raised in a gesture of peace. "We know you're not all part of this conspiracy," she called out, her voice somehow carrying over the chaotic maelstrom. "Some of you want to stop this as much as we do. Let us help you." For a heart-stopping moment, everything seemed to freeze. Then, a void walker separated itself from the writhing mass of its kin. Its form coalesced into something almost comprehensible, a being of living shadow and starlight. "You speak the truth, human," it said, its voice resonating directly in Zara's mind. "We are a race divided. Some seek to dominate your realm, others wish only to observe and learn. Your arrival here, it was not mere chance." Understanding dawned on Zara. "The proxy ship, the data cores. You arranged for me to find them, didn't you?" The Void Walker's form rippled in what might have been a nod. "We sought a catalyst, one who could unite disparate forces against those who would upset the cosmic balance. You, Zara Chen, with your human adaptability and boundless determination, were the key." A surge of power from the portal interrupted their exchange. The Void Walker turned, its form bristling with otherworldly energy. "The portal must be closed, or both our realms will be torn asunder. Will you stand with us, humans and Silurians alike, to preserve the cosmic order?" Zara looked to Lyra, seeing her own resolve mirrored in those alien eyes. They clasped hands, the touch electric with shared purpose and something deeper. "We stand with you," Lyra declared, her voice ringing with authority. What followed was a battle that defied description. Human ingenuity and Silurian strength joined with the reality-warping powers of the Void Walkers. Zara found herself channeling energies she could scarcely comprehend, guided by the extra-dimensional beings. As the portal began to collapse, the corrupt Concordat officials fled, their dreams of ultimate power crumbling around them. In the final moments, as reality itself seemed to hang by a thread, it was Zara and Lyra's combined efforts that tipped the scales. With a reality-shaking implosion, the portal snapped shut. The chamber fell silent, save for the heavy breathing of the survivors. Zara turned to Lyra, both of them battered but alive. Words seemed inadequate in the face of what they'd just experienced. Instead, they came together in a kiss that spoke volumes, of shared triumph, of newfound understanding, of a connection that transcended species. As they parted, breathless, the Void Walker approached. "You have done a great service to both our realms this day," it intoned. "The balance is preserved, for now, but the Concordat conspiracy runs deep, and there are mysteries yet to be unraveled." Zara grinned, the thrill of adventure coursing through her. "Well then, I guess our work here isn't done. What do you say, partner? Ready for another impossible mission?" Lyra's answering smile was radiant. "With you by my side, always." As alarms blared and the station slowly returned to life around them, Zara and Lyra stood hand in hand, ready to face whatever the galaxy might throw at them next. Their unlikely alliance had not only saved reality itself, but forged a bond that would reshape the very foundations of interstellar society. The human and the Azilorian, brought together by chance and united by a love that defied the very laws of nature, their story was only just beginning. Triumph of human ingenuity, the aftermath of the Void Walker incident sent shockwaves through the galactic Concordat. As news of the conspiracy spread, systems across the galaxy erupted in chaos. Zara and Lyra found themselves at the center of a storm, hailed as heroes by some and branded as traitors by others. "We've got incoming," Zara shouted, her hands flying over the controls of the Star Chaser. The ship, once a humble salvage vessel, had been upgraded with a mix of human, Silurian, and Void Walker tech. It now represented the pinnacle of cross-species engineering. Lyra's fingers danced across a holographic display, activating the ship's unconventional defenses. "Quantum displacement field online. Let's see them try to lock onto us now." They were fleeing from a Concordat dreadnought, its massive form filling the viewscreen. But size wasn't everything, especially when facing the combined ingenuity of a human salvager and a Silurian security expert. Initiating dark matter slip, Zara announced, a fierce grin on her face. "Hold on to your tentacles, folks." The Star Chaser seemed to fold in on itself, slipping between the very fabric of spacetime. When they re-emerged, the dreadnought was nowhere to be seen. "I still can't believe that worked," Lyra marveled, her luminous eyes wide with wonder. Zara chuckled. Never underestimate human creativity, babe, especially when it's backed by alien super science. Their moment of triumph was short-lived. A priority communication came through, the holographic form of Admiral San materializing in the cockpit. The reptilian leader of the resistance against the corrupt Concordate elements looked grave. "Chen, Tivaris, we have a situation," San hissed. "The Voidwalker separatists have made contact. They've discovered something troubling." Zara and Lyra exchanged worried glances. "What is it, Admiral?" Lyra asked. "A weapon," Exan replied, his scales rippling with agitation. "One capable of unraveling the very fabric of our universe. The Concordat loyalists are moving to secure it as we speak." Zara's mind raced. "Where?" "A place that, until now, we thought was merely a myth," San said. "The Nexus of Forgotten Worlds." The coordinates that followed sent a chill down Zora's spine. The Nexus was said to be a graveyard of dead planets, a place where the laws of physics broke down. No ship that had ventured there had ever returned. "We're on it, Admiral," Lyra affirmed. "We'll stop them." As the transmission ended, Zara turned to her partner, a mix of excitement and trepidation in her eyes. "So, ready to dive into certain doom for the sake of the galaxy, again?" Lyra's answering smile was radiant. "With you, always." The journey to the Nexus pushed the Star Chaser and its crew to their limits. Reality itself seemed to warp around them as they approached, the ship's sensors screaming warnings about spatial anomalies and time dilation effects. "There." Lyra pointed to a cluster of dead worlds ahead, each one suspended in a state of half-decay. At the center of the formation was a swirling vortex of energy, pulsing with otherworldly power. "I'm picking up Concordat signatures," Zara reported, her fingers flying over the controls. "Looks like they beat us here." As they drew closer, the true scale of the threat became apparent. A massive Concordat battlecruiser hovered near the vortex, tethered to it by beams of crackling energy. They were already beginning to harness the Nexus's power. "We're too late," Lyra breathed, her voice heavy with despair. But Zara Chen, human salvager and now savior of galaxies, wasn't about to give up. "No," she said firmly. "We're right on time. Lyra, remember that crazy idea we had about using the quantum entanglement drive as a weapon?" The Axylorian's eyes widened. "You can't be serious. The energy required would tear the ship apart." "Not if we channel it through the Voidwalker tech," Zara countered. "We can create a localized implosion, collapse the Nexus in on itself, and take that battlecruiser with it." "And us along with it," Lyra pointed out. Zara reached out, taking Lyra's hand in her own. "Maybe. But if we don't try, there won't be a galaxy left to save. I can't think of a better way to go out than saving the universe with the woman I love." Lyra's copper skin flushed, the patterns beneath swirling with emotion. "I love you too, you impossible human," she said softly. Then, squaring her shoulders, "Let's do this." What followed was a symphony of human intuition and alien precision. Zara's unorthodox approach, honed by years of jury-rigging salvage tech, merged seamlessly with Lyra's deep understanding of advanced physics. They pushed the Star Chaser to its absolute limits, dancing on the edge of destruction. As they made their final approach, alarms blaring and the ship groaning in protest, Zara felt a strange calm settle over her. This was what humans did best, facing the impossible and finding a way through. "Now," Zara shouted, slamming her hand down on the activation sequence. The universe seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a silent explosion of light and energy, the Nexus collapsed in on itself. The Concordat battlecruiser was caught in the implosion, twisted and torn apart by forces beyond comprehension. The Star Chaser tumbled through the chaos, its systems overloading. Zara and Lyra clung to each other as reality itself seemed to tear at the seams around them. And then, silence. Zara opened her eyes, half expecting to find herself in the afterlife. Instead, she was greeted by the familiar sight of the Star Chaser's cockpit. Beside her, Lyra stirred, looking equally bewildered. Did we do it?" the Tylorian asked, her voice hoarse. Before Zara could respond, a transmission crackled to life. Admiral Sand's holographic form appeared, his reptilian features twisted in an expression of disbelief and joy. "Chen, Tivaris, you magnificent fools," he hissed. "You actually did it. The Nexus is gone, along with the Concordat fleet. You've saved us all." As the full impact of their victory sank in, Zara turned to Lyra. Words seemed inadequate in the face of what they'd just accomplished. Instead, they came together in a kiss that spoke volumes, of shared triumph, of a love that transcended species, of a future full of infinite possibilities. When they finally parted, breathless and giddy with survival, Zara couldn't help but grin. "So," she said, a mischievous glint in her eye, "what impossible mission should we tackle next?" Lyra laughed, the sound like music to Zara's ears. "With you by my side, anything is possible." As they set a course back towards friendly space, Zara marveled at the twists of fate that had brought her to this moment. From a simple salvage run to saving the very fabric of the universe, all because of an unexpected detention and an alien mating cycle. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would they. The legend of Zara Chen and Lyra Tivaris, the human Azylorian duo who reshaped the cosmos, was just beginning. Their story would be told across the stars for generations to come, a testament to the power of love, the triumph of ingenuity, and the unbreakable spirit of humanity.